In 2024, Ashton Jeanty had the most rushing yards in college football. If we just counted his yards after contact, he would still have had the most rushing yards in college football. Jeanty is an absolute freak, able to break tackles like they are not there, able to pluck the ball out of the air well outside of his frame, and able to do basically anything to run an offense, as he did in 2024 when he finished second in Heisman voting. But is there anything more to this player, or is this just the 101? If you like this content, please consider liking and subscribing. But let's take a little bit of a deep dive into the consensus running back 1 and best player in this class. The first thing that you notice about Jeanty is his incredible ability to just shrug off contact. And as I said at the beginning of the video, his yards after contact were more than any other running back had rushing yards as a whole in 2024. And this comes down to a couple of things. His contact balance is genuinely elite. It's as good as anyone's in the NFL right now. He is just able to stay on his feet in a way that you can't really understand, especially when he is actually a relatively small back. He's 5'8". But the way in which he's able to just navigate through tackles with pinpoint footwork and then contact balance to be able to then stay upright and churn out yards is fantastic. And then that tackle breaking ability, he basically has a variety of moves that make him impossible to bring down, whether it's spinning out of tackles, whether it's trucking, basically all of the buttons that you'd use on Madden, he uses within his arsenal, and that is going to come up a little bit later. The other thing is that I think his vision is absolutely incredible. This guy basically never picks the wrong hole, and he's able to scan behind the line of scrimmage, and he mostly functions as a one-cut runner that then on zone concepts is able to just cut back to the right hole and scream upfield. This is also aided by the mix of burst and long speed, so it's everything you'd want from a running back. Maybe doesn't quite have elite breakaway speed, but the initial burst through a hole combined with his power makes him basically impossible to stop when it's paired with that fantastic vision and the fact that he's able to hit a hole with sheer explosivity. The other thing is that he is a true 3-down weapon. He has incredibly natural hands for a running back, incredible juice to then make things happen afterwards, and he's fantastic at bringing in passes outside of his frame. He is a natural hands catcher who can pluck the ball out of the air and can be used truly as the featured part of a receiving offense, but also the entire heart of your rushing offense. There is no doubt in my mind that Jeanty is the running back 1 in this class, and it is a fantastic running back class. But honestly, it's not even close. So one of the maybe hardest bits of a video to make. What are the weaknesses of Ashton Jeanty? Well, one of the first things you have to consider is workload management. He was the entirety of Boise State's offense, basically for the entirety of his time in college, but particularly the last 2 years, so has seen an overwhelming workload. Now, he's not really struggled with injuries at all, but we do sometimes see some of those backs who were overworked in college struggle when they get to the NFL because they just have too much tread on the tires. It's definitely something to consider that he may not have the longest lifespan in the NFL just because he's already been used a fair amount in college. He also does have a slight weakness for fumbling, particularly when he is fighting for extra yards. And bear in mind with Jeanty, he is basically always fighting for extra yards. He refuses to go down on first contact. So sometimes when he tries to extend, he also has a bit of a tendency to extend for the goal line on first to third down rather than just when it's a need to have it situation. He does have a bit of a weakness for fumbling. He'll need to clean that up in the NFL. The other thing is that when it comes to his visions, he's not the most patient runner at the minute. So he currently will wait for a hole to develop, but not wait for the blocks to develop in front of it, mostly because he knows he doesn't need them. He can pick the right hole and then fight his own way through. But in the NFL, if he can develop a little bit more patience in the running game, let the blocks develop in front of him, then it will just mitigate the amount that he will have to break 8 tackles per run just because he actually has blockers out in space in front of him. Now, for my playstyle comparison, I debated Alvin Kamara. They are quite similar. Christian McCaffrey, again, even going back to LaDainian Tomlinson, there's a lot of similarities there. But ultimately, my playstyle comparison is Madden Creator Player. He plays like a video game character. He's constantly spamming different skill moves. It's like you've min-maxed into some incredible tackle breaking ability, and he's just incapable to bring down. He just doesn't play currently like an NFL player or one I can particularly compare to. He plays like someone in a video game that's a 99 overall when everyone around him is a 50. Now, we'll have to see how that translates to the NFL, but it's going to. In terms of his draft value, I think his floor is 110 to the Bears. I have said 106 to 110. I think the likely landing spots are the Raiders or the Bears. Now, if he lands in Chicago, that is going to be fantastic for fantasy. That offensive line, particularly the interior offensive line, is getting much better. We know he has a good quarterback. We know he has a great offensive mind to use him and maximize his skill set. But I think that's his flaw. I don't see how he can possibly make it any later than that, especially with the upgrades they've made to the offensive line and the way that we know Ben Johnson values the running back position. In terms of his draft value in rookie drafts, it's the 101. I previously had Tet as my 101. The more that I watch Jeanty for myself and for my own opinions, he's the 101. It's honestly not close. You can argue Cam Ward in Superflex if you need the quarterback position or if you just see it as that much more valuable. But this is a truly generational talent that I wouldn't be passing on for basically any reason except a massive trade down. I want to know down below in the comments who your comp is for Jeanty, and I also want you to let me know if any of you watching don't have him as the running back one. There was someone on Twitter the other day who told me they had Bashal Tutin as their running back one over Jeanty, and I chose not to respond. But if you comment down here, I'll have a chat with you about why. And while you're there, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out all of the other rookie profiles that I have available. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.